Perspective. That seems to be the number one thing that separates a good PhD student from a bad PhD student. Perspective, the ability to zoom out from the daily rough and tumble with your PhD studies. The ability to judge your progress not on how bad a day, week, or even month went, but how you are progressing year on year. Are you hitting the yearly goals? Are you progressing ever so slowly? It doesn't matter. This resilience and ability to zoom out is just so important. Like, there are moments where you just want to cry. No doubt. Like, a PhD pushes people to their limits, but the ability to feel the emotion, but then put it into perspective as to, this day didn't go very well, but tomorrow may go better. That resilience really does mean that your PhD will progress, that you will be able to get through the tough times, and ultimately you'll be able to do enough work without sort of like worrying too much about if something isn't working right now. One of the favorite words that I like to put on the end of things when I'm feeling a little bit sorry for myself is the word yet. It really does help frame stuff in a perspective, in a way that really just helps me understand that things aren't permanent, that things can change, and things do change in unexpected ways. The word yet is so perfect. For example, my experiment isn't working yet. It just tells you that there is an opportunity in the future to change it, to do it better. My supervisor is not responding to my emails yet. Is there something that I'm not doing that I can do to help make sure that the communication is a bit more effective? I don't understand this key concept yet. Don't worry, you will be able to understand it. The fact that you are a PhD student, that you've been accepted into a PhD candidature, means that you will be able to learn it. Don't worry, don't stress. Our brains, when they are in this kind of turbulent, horrible mode, can only think about the bad things. And that really limits your ability to think creatively. And the word yet really just calms me down. This video is brought to you by my newsletter. Go check it out at andrewstapleton.com.au/newsletter. The link is in the description. When you sign up, you'll get 5 emails over about 2 weeks. Everything from the tools I use, the podcasts I've been on, my TEDx talk, and more. Sign up soon because I am currently writing a new ebook and you'll be the first to find out, and you'll get a cheeky little discount. Self-discipline is the other thing that really good PhD students have. Now, imagine yourself at the end of your undergraduate or your master's. You have done a lot of work already, and one of the worst things that can happen is that you go, I'll just give myself a little bit of a break, a little bit of an easy time in the beginning of my PhD. That does not often lead to success. I've seen it happen. Someone that I knew went scuba diving and then never really got back into the swing of things afterwards, and they really struggled. They didn't end up getting a PhD. They got downgraded to a master's. So self-discipline, the ability to turn up and be persistent, the ability to turn up every single day when things are going wrong, when people have told you your experiments are rubbish, when you know that things aren't quite going well. Have you got the discipline and persistence to turn up to the lab, turn up to your desk, turn up to the university and give it your attention and try to get through any issues? Even simple things like turning up between a certain time. Now, one thing I love about my PhD years is that I was able to kind of like just turn up whenever I wanted. I wasn't great necessarily at self-discipline, but I always made sure that I turned up. It was one of the things I had in undergraduate as well, where I would turn up to lectures no matter what. If I was hungover, if I was, not feeling great, if I was sad, whatever it was, being present is a huge part of being able to succeed. And so turning up between 9 to 5, it is better, I think, to consider a PhD like a job where you turn up between certain times and there just turning up, making sure you are available to do work, having those interactions with people. Even if you can do your PhD remotely, sometimes just being in a place where you should do that work makes a huge difference. So yes, self-discipline. Can you force yourself to sit down and write? One little trick that I like to use is just saying, I'm just going to spend 10 minutes on this. No more. I always find myself, though, working for at least an hour if I do that, because by the time you've opened the file, got your computer, got your cup of tea, sat down to do the 10 minutes, you normally feel like doing more. So trick yourself into doing a little bit more. Self-discipline goes a long way to making your PhD successful, and bad PhD students do not have any self-discipline. In the eyes of the people that you are collaborating with, and probably yourself as well, the day feels better if you are just fun to work with, if you contribute to the lab culture, if you are good at building relationships. That is quite often from a supervisor's perspective, or even from, your lab mates, just being the person that turns up and is ready to go, a little bit more cheery. Now, you can't fake that all the time, but sometimes just making sure that you are okay in yourself, looking after yourself, means that you will have more time for those conversations in the lab, for making your lab culture a little bit nicer. And I feel like I want to turn up to a place and do well when I've built up a little bit of a reputation of being, the fun one, and being able to sort of bring a group together for a common goal, which is quite often what our research group is doing. So yes, a good PhD student contributes to lab culture. I'm not saying you have to be chirpy if you're not chirpy and all that sort of stuff, but maybe, do something nice. Maybe after watching this video, tomorrow turn up with some cheap donuts. Turn up with a little bit of a coffee for someone in your lab. All of those little things just mean that a good PhD student is fun to be around. It contributes nicely to the culture of the lab. Everyone kind of seems to benefit from that good PhD student kind of culture, and everyone's happier, including your supervisor, which is very important. From the perspective of a supervisor, a good PhD student, and this pains me to say, is someone that provides maximum benefit to their career, but they have to put very little into the development of that student. A good PhD student in the eyes of a supervisor is someone that they can let be in the lab, give them the resources they need, but don't need to invest too much time, but they get a lot back in terms of papers, in terms of grants, in terms of all sorts. And that really is the academic system and structure we're in. You have supervisors with lots of PhD students underneath them, and they want to suck all of that academic kudos up to their career. And unfortunately, a good PhD student in the eyes of a supervisor is someone where the ratio is much more in favor of what they get rather than the amount of effort they need to put into growing this person as a student. So knowing that is very important. This PhD channel is all about really understanding that game and the realities of doing a PhD in the current academic system. And because I'm outside of the system, I can say really the truth, because my career doesn't depend on it at all. So yes, a bad PhD student in the eyes of a supervisor is someone that they have to put a lot of effort into, and they don't receive much back for their very own career. So unfortunately, that's the reality, but knowing about it is part of that, is a part of winning the game, I guess, and really sort of like navigating academic properly. Go check out the other videos where I talk about this in a lot more detail. So there we have it. There are some of the lesser known things that distinguish a good PhD student from a bad PhD student. Let me know in the comments what you would add to that list, and go check out academiainsider.com. That's my project where I have my ebook, the Ultimate Academic Writing Toolkit, as well as my insider forum where we help each other become better academics. All right then, I'll see you in the next video.